President Trump called on Saudi Arabia and Syria to join the Abraham Accords, recognizing Israel. Watch.
The Abraham Accords, and it's my fervent hope, wish, and even my dream that Saudi Arabia, a place I have such respect for, especially over the last fairly short period of time, what you've been able to do, but will soon be joining the Abraham Accords.
Retired Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis joins me now. Any chance this will happen, Colonel? Because it would be a major breakthrough.
It would be a major breakthrough. And I'm all about President Trump trying to get these Abraham Accords expanded, because if he can succeed and get this done, it will even more solidly put the peace track on the right course and lessen the chances that we have any conflicts with anyone. But there are some pretty sizable headwinds from a number of different sources. Number one, Saudi Arabia is asking for security guarantees from the United States, kind of like a Article 5 in NATO, et cetera. And we have not been very reluctant to want to give those. The other thing that Saudi Arabia really has insisted on is that for them to agree to the Abraham Accords and recognize Israel, Israel has to have a two-state solution with Palestinian people. There has to be a path for that, which, of course, the Israelis have absolutely adamantly, especially Netanyahu, said they're not willing to do. So it's going to be really hard to get this done if either or both of those two things don't change. And right now, probably neither one of them are in the near term.
Got it. Now, next one, Colonel. Listen to Trump extend an olive branch to Iran.
There won't be a nuclear battle. Let me just explain. I'm all for Iran. I want them to have a wonderful country and make a lot of money. They have great oil reserves. But if you remember, when I was president, Iran was broke because I placed secondary sanctions, meaning you couldn't buy, if you bought oil, you couldn't deal with the United States. And people make a lot of money dealing with the United States. So basically, they weren't selling any oil to almost anybody. It was down to a trickle, almost nothing. They didn't have money for Hamas. They didn't have money for Hezbollah. They didn't have any money at all. And we had no threat.
All right, Colonel, could you tell us what happens if Iran does not make a deal?
Yeah, that's the. This is another one of those really thorny, sticky issues here because there are so many different components that go in there. I know that on the surface of it, a lot of people want to say, well, the obvious answer is you go and you bomb Iran, but that has some consequences. In fact, in light of this whole trip that President Trump is on right now, he's making these massive deals with all these different countries that's going to benefit the United States. Well, they want to have peace in the region. They don't want to have war. In fact, Saudi Arabia has been doing a lot of diplomatic rapprochement with Iran. So they want things to be stable. They don't want to have a war that could destabilize all of this stuff and put these deals at risk. You also have China and Russia also for oil and for military reliance on the side of Iran. And so there's that question of if you go and you do that, what is going to be the reaction of all these other players? And if we're trying to get, especially Saudi Arabia, in the direction of the Abraham Accords, that could put it at risk. So there's no easy call here for the president. And I really liked what he had to say last night about it, because he said he would go to more stronger economic sanctions as opposed to I'm going to go straight to the military, because I think that would be a disaster. I don't think that it would accomplish what we want it to do, and it could actually push Iran into making a nuclear weapon as opposed to preventing them. So it is not an easy solution in any way you want to look at this.
I want to change the subject for a second, because I'm told, I understand that recruitment for the U.S. Coast Guard is absolutely surging. They've got 4,700 recruits, up from, what is it, 1,200 a year ago or something? Why is the recruitment surging in the Coast Guard?
Well, I think you're seeing this mirrored across the board in all the services, maybe not quite to that level. But I just think we have to look at a couple of things. That number one, over the previous 4 years, there was lots of issues with equality and all this stuff. And by the way, I'm all for equality, but if you go too far with it, you have reactions like this where people are saying you're putting too much emphasis on that to where it's not equal. You're actually prioritizing some over others and diminishing other people that historically had not been diminished. And that has caused a lot of the people, especially from the American heartland, they're not a big fan of that. And they voted with basically their feet of not signing up. But they've also been very much pro defend our borders of our own country. That's why most people sign up. That's why I signed up, to defend the United States. And when President Trump comes in and says that, look, we're going to bring the warrior ethos back to the Department of Defense, we're going to defend our borders, that really excites a lot of people. And now then they say, yes, this is why I want to sign up, to defend my country, not to go off and fight dumb wars everywhere else.
Elections have consequences. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, Colonel Daniel Davis. We appreciate it. We'll see you again soon.
My pleasure. Thank you.